Hey everyone, as the title of the video says, this is my opinion and review of the Tide of Shadows event. I have 7 segments, I think it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 segments to talk about. I have little notes on the side to kind of keep me in line as to what I want to talk about. So, I guess I'll start off with Rotjaw. Um, First of all, Rotjaw was a great addition to the game. The time to kill, it was pretty easy with poison and sidestepping the charge. There's not a whole lot that goes into it. It's pretty much like the butcher. The butcher just kind of charges at you, swings around his sickle. You just kind of got to dodge it. Same with Scrapbeak. Uh, she does have that enrage phase where she does like the consecutive charges and everything. All in all, nothing crazy. I like the idea of the electricity ruining your stamina and like destroying your stamina bar. However, I think it would have been more impactful maybe if it did more so like a stun, like a mini stun of like zero point 0.5 seconds, maybe. Kind of like a charge. A charge is essentially a stun because she's knocking you down and you can't do anything for a duration. But I guess if she, I don't know. I just figure that the charge is a lot easier to dodge than the electricity, especially at the enraged timer when the electricity goes out. But yeah, as far as time to kill, I think it was pretty okay. With poison, it's very, very fast. With melee, it's decent. But you can't throw bombs on her or anything unless you throw a bomb before she goes in the water. But it doesn't do much damage at all. But as far as time to kill, I think it's in a good place. I think her time to kill is in the good place, especially when you try to melee. It again kills your stamina bar. So, I mean, there's that. If you're not running poison, melee is gonna not take a long time, but it's decent, right? Um, finding her in the open and where she's found. Essentially, it allows for really cool fights at random spots that you don't expect to ever fight at. Like on the border of the map, like near Arden, is the first thing that comes to mind. Uh, let's say Fort McCormick. Sorry. Um, Usually there would be a regular bounty inside of Fort McCormick, but then sometimes right on the outside, Rotjaw would be there. So it add for really cool dynamics, and you know, although you are fighting one bounty, like the whole entire server's there. Like usually it is, but like it just adds more to the chaos. You don't know if people are gonna just charge out of Fort McCormick and fight you, or that goes for any compound that was near the water. Um, but yeah, fighting her out in the open it was pretty cool. Like you can see her on the banks of the water and stuff. But I really like the dynamic of fighting virtually anywhere on the map, especially on waterways. So, in my opinion, yeah, it was great. That part is great for Raja. Next point is how many fights I realistically did in the open with Raja. I would say I'm gonna round up and just say 30. If I had 30 fights, 5 were out in the open. I mean, it kind of more so seemed like everybody waited for Rotjaw to banish and then they would fight you, or you were maybe 3 shots into fighting Rotjaw and you would get hit by a team. Uh, and it kind of felt that way myself if I was attacking a team. I never really got in on a team. I think there's one, and it's in a video that I uploaded, that she was like half HP. I think that was the one time really that I found a team midway through. Other than that, yeah, it's I understand it on paper. You want people to get there and kind of fight over her, but realistically, unfortunately, that didn't really happen. But I understand it. I totally get it. I just you can't force players to do what you want them to do. And although I would like to fight them in the open like that around the waterway and like Rotjaw's tearing us all apart, it didn't really happen. Uh, Her abilities like draining stamina, fast charge after the enrage phase, I kind of already went over that. I thought the abilities were good. Not great, not groundbreaking or nothing like that. Every boss has an enrage timer or an enrage phase. She just she had charges right afterwards. I don't know if melee got easier to take her health down. I actually didn't really pay attention to that. So yeah, again, her abilities weren't crazy good, but they were good. The timer when being banished, how fast it is for the bounty team and attacking teams. I think the timer is in a good place. It's not too fast. It's not too slow. So after she's banished, attacking teams, it's good for. It's weird because it makes sense in my head. Attacking teams, the the timer is good for them just because of the fact that with it ticking down so fast, I feel like you're forcing yourself into the Rotjaw area, and creating a quick fight because the timer's ticking down and everybody wants the bounty. As for the defenders or the bounty team, I guess, who killed Rotjaw, it's good for them too because you want that banish to go by quick so that you can pick it up and get out of there, or pick it up and get to the next bounty to do the next fight. The only thing about it is, again, I didn't have a lot of fights like that, but what I found was whenever we banished, we would kind of like just find a bush or like a mound of dirt to hide behind and kind of wait it out that way. So that was kind of the downfall. I mean, you can't get her to spawn in the open all the time where it's just flat land where there's nothing. But yeah, we kind of just found just sitting in a bush was the best way to just wait out the timer or behind a mound. And you don't have to sit right on top of the bounty. You can go out a few meters and wait it out that way. But yeah, I think the timer is in a good spot. Neither too fast nor too slow. The small letdown was that she doesn't roam the entire map, but still enjoyable. Yeah, when she was being first announced, when we were getting the roaming boss, I think everybody thought it too. We were going to get a boss that roamed the entire map. That's not what we got, but I understand what they mean by roaming, meaning it's kind of like the other bosses. You can consider the other bosses roaming as well because they don't stay in one certain spot. They're in different compounds every time you get into the next fight or the next server. So she's not roaming in the sense of what the typical roaming it like she's going around the entire map or she's sticking to a waterway. She's in one she's in one segmented waterway and she doesn't go anywhere. So I think what Crytek is trying to say by roaming is that it's an outside of compound boss, and that's what their term is for outside of compound boss. These are roaming bosses. If there's any in the future, you know, like Scrapbeak not being in a compound anymore, he would be considered roaming because he's not in a compound. That's just what they mean by that. I wish it would be a roaming boss where it goes the entire map, but I get it. There's a way to cheese it. You know, you can sit in the prisons from the towers and snipe down on it and just whittle its health down. You can kind of, if it's an AI that's like on this railroad pathway, not a literal train railroad, but like if it can only go in one direction at a certain pace and stuff like that, and you kind of understand the timer of where she's going to be and all that, it would be very easy to cheese waiting for other hunters to follow it, and you're just sitting in a bush waiting for the gator to come down the road and, you know, the hunter's following suit. So I get why she's in one certain area. But again, you know, my opinion, I thought it would be cool to be an actual roaming around the map, but I still like how she is. All in all, I think she is a great addition to the game that can be expanded upon. I'm sure there's going to be more. I personally am not a fan of things like vampires and werewolves. So when it was announced that it was going to be a gator, I was stoked for it because I really did not want a vampire slash werewolf boss. Like that's in every single video game. I'm sick and tired of it personally. Again, this hunt is not catered just to me, but I know other people would like a vampire that swoops down from the air or stuff like that. But I'm glad Rotjaw is a gator, and I think she's a great addition that can be expanded upon. All right, so next is the weather effect. The light to heavy rain providing cover from snipers or masking footsteps. I think it was great because it added a dynamic where you essentially you got to choose to like wait for the heavy rain to start setting in, and then if you're getting sniped from somewhere, you can distance yourself to where the sniper no longer sees you or can barely see you, and you're good. You're kind of good to go. So again, it added that dynamic of should I just wait for the heavy rain to set in and then I can make moves, or what? The next point is it allowed easier movement from compound to compound with the bounty. So like if we had a bounty, and say we were at like Slaughterhouse, and we were sitting in Slaughterhouse and there's a breakout of a fight going on in the like front yard area or the White House. We would wait for like the heavy rain to set in. Excuse me. Go out the back west side, and then pretty much just run to Devant Ranch. And during the heavy rain, in virtually nobody's like hitting you with long ammo or snipers or nothing like that. You're pretty set to kind of just do as you please in the heavy rain because nobody can see you. So I thought it allowed easier movement from compound to compound, even with the bounty. So that again, it added that dynamic of choosing when you wanted to move if you did. I did notice sometimes barrels would explode and sometimes would not explode. I don't know if it's because when it was going from light to heavy rain, there was that little median of time where it was in that gap where it starts to pick up to get to heavy rain. If there's like a timer where it still thinks it's light rain, in the system it's light rain. Same with when heavy rain's fading out. Maybe the heavy rain, when it's fading out, it's already light rain, but it, visually it's still heavy rain just fading out. So that's when barrels would explode, is on light rain, but on heavy rain it would. I don't know. I don't understand it really, but I have a lot of video clips where barrels would explode, especially in heavy rain. And then I have one where I emptied fire ammo into a red barrel, the whole entire clip, or entire reserve that I had, and it wasn't exploding. So I don't know if it's like a bug or something, but I think personally barrels probably shouldn't explode on rain maps just because it's rain. You can't it's rain, like it can't spark a fuse and everything. So I don't know. I know we're playing a game of where people are dead and coming back to life, and they have this dark sight to see a boss with a pig head, and a guy got mutated into a big bird man. But I mean, I don't know. To kind of stick with how things work, if we were going that way, I would say they wouldn't explode. That's just me. Immolators are still on fire and not put out when heavy rain begins. I thought that was kind of odd too. I get it. They're probably like more like a demonic entity, so the flames are different from normal flames. But it was kind of odd that immolators are still on fire, but I think it would be cool if they were put out when heavy rain begins. But again, I mean, it's neither here nor there. Again, I guess I get it because it's like more like a demonic entity. The flames are different. The weather effect definitely gives a great atmosphere, especially watching it pour off roofs. When you see it like falling off tin roofs and everything, it was really, really cool. There's parts where it was kind of bugged out when you go to archways and stuff, and the rain would pour and you would get like the splash effect maybe a foot underneath the archway. And when you looked straight up in the air, the rain would not it wouldn't be there. It would just go away. It seems like a client side thing where Crytek mocked rain, where it's falling in front of, let's just say, your hunter's eyes, like it's falling on your hunter's eyes and not out in the world. Um, so it gives that impression it's raining to save on, RAM usage or like GPU usage or not being such a heavy load on your computer. Um, so I mean, it still gives a great atmosphere though. I mean, it feels like it's out in the world. The rain just that genuinely feels like it's out in the world. Even, I mean, I could be totally wrong. It could not be a client side thing where it's just right there on your eye, right on your eyes and stuff. But um, yeah, I think the weather effect was great. I hope it stays. Last point is I hope it stays in the game. I wish the Inferno would be brought back as a regular effect as well. I think Crytek really blows it out of the water, like in a good way. Like they are leading in any video game when it comes to weather effects, be it the Inferno or the rain effect. I think they capture it absolutely flawlessly. And uh, I think with the Inferno, the smoke was kind of weird looking, but still they capture it perfectly. When the Inferno event was going on, I can't, Devil's Moon, I think it was. Uh, it was just, I felt like I was fighting in a wildfire. I genuinely felt that way. Tide of Shadows, I genuinely feel like the it's soul rain souls coming down, and that's part of the lore I'll get to later. But it feels like it feels like I'm trudging through the swamp in heavy rain, and it feels awesome. So yeah, it's Crytek did an awesome job. Sorry about that. Crytek did an awesome job um, capturing the weather effect, and I hope it stays in the game. Packs. I can only comment on Grounded, as that's the only one I used. I never felt the need to go to any other one. I know a lot of people said Instinct was OP and they loved Instinct, but I never felt the need for getting my bars back. I think already in Hunt, it's pretty easy to get your bars back. Uh, when you get downed, I think you don't lose them in Instinct. I think that's what it was. But Grounded, as far as it goes, I think it was awesome. Remedy, I thought Remedy only healed the member that used Remedy, but it heals the whole entire party. If you're playing duos or trios, it heals everybody. So that was awesome. I didn't know, I had no idea that happened until it was used. So, you could be in a gunfight and you quickly go over and hit Remedy and get right back into the gunfight. Shadow is the absolute greatest. It took out the worry of grunts, hives, emulators, husks, meatheads. You know, everything on the map and any NPC on the map. It took out the worry of all of those, and it also frees up an inventory slot for other items because it removes the reason to have a melee weapon. Although I did keep axes, obviously for PvE, like killing a boss really quickly, or if you're out of ammo, you switch to your throwing axe to melee a hunter with. But I mean, Shadow was much more than just not worrying about grunts and hives and emulators and everything. It also added to like not needing perks like Silent Killer, because Silent Killer, you have no reason to pick it anymore. You don't need to kill grunts and stuff like that. Now, the slight drawback for Shadow is, although they wouldn't attack you and you could run right by them, they would linger around you, so you would still piss them off if you're attacking a compound and you're rushing a compound and you're trying to be quiet or something. Uh, they they could just like follow you up, and people would see that and they would know that a hunter's nearby in that area. So, but regardless, if you were in a compound, let's say like Hemlock and Hyde, and there's meatheads and husks in the hive on top of the building, you never needed to worry about any of that. If you threw bees, I mean, this whole entire event, I ran bees because I didn't have to worry about them attacking me. I could chuck the bees. and let them go do their thing, because and I could run right through them, granted antidote shot, but you can run right through them without them going on you. And that's the other thing too, is hunters would throw bees on me, not know that I had shadow, try to push me as fast as possible, thinking I'm fighting off the bees, and I had them dead to rights. So Shadow did a lot. It did so much, especially in the dynamic of gunfights, that I think it was the greatest perk you could get. Cheat Death, I wish the bug lasted the whole event, but all good things come to an end. I'm one of those people that believe that Cheat Death, if it was bugged, it should have been through the end, 16 days left, but, you know, all good things come to an end. Last for the packs is, I hope Shadow becomes a trait, maybe 5 or 6 points, maybe even 7. It did a lot. It did do a lot. I think it was a great perk. It was a very helpful perk. Is it kind of like a game breaking perk if it was brought all the time? I don't think so, but it would definitely be pretty strong. It would be one of the strongest traits available. But again, I just hope Shadow becomes a trait. That's just me. Next is the Battle Pass. As you can see, I'm almost level, what is it, right over this way? I'm almost level 50. I'm level 49. That's why I waited to make this video, to get through the Battle Pass, to give you an educated, give my educated opinion before I just started rambling, and I'm only level 24 or something. So I think the Battle Pass was okay. It was the very first Battle Pass I've ever completed since they were implemented in the game, and the only Battle Pass I've ever bought. Because I feel as though the other Battle Passes were kind of lackluster in skins that appeased me. Like, I mean, just personally, I'm not really one for skins that were voodoo or ritual-like in nature, like the Nagant skin. That we will get to in a little bit, but I'm more over the type of person that wants this one, the river skin for the stick. It's really cool with seaweed. It's much more different than a lot of other things. I wish that was in the Battle Pass. But I pretty much bought it because of 2 skins. The Vortex skin, I mean, it's a squid with the squid eyeball. It's patinaed. It looks amazing. I think Crytek did awesome with this. It's a beautiful skin. I got it for that, and I got it for Cretaceous Cruelty. The bronzed barrel, the bronze hammer, the bronze trigger guard, with the like blue tip and the muted blue for the wood. It was just, I don't know, for some reason it's amazing. It's a top tier skin in my opinion. I don't know why, but it looks amazing. And I really wanted it for it. The Nagant skin, I mean, I don't know why the regular Nagant's still in the game. The officer is far superior. Maybe it's for the silenced version, but I mean, to give this to the regular Nagant, I mean, I don't think it was really the play. I'm sure there's reasons behind it, maybe the lore, RP, but I don't know. I'll never use it, but there's someone out there that probably will, of course. Corrosive Vessel was nice. I was neither here nor there on it. I get why they did it, RP reasons and everything. The Helmsman and Gar, I mean, they're not, we'll get more to this later, but they are not my taste. Again, I'm more so for things like Minro. If I can give it a weird, funny backstory, that's the type of the skins I like to get. Like, again, like Minro, Billy's story is really cool. I mean, I went over it with my intimidation tier list, so there's that. I did it for the Vortex and Cretaceous. The skins were to be desired, but understandable for the lore. Regular Nagant skin, of course, we went over that. It was easy to complete as I only played the weekends for 7 to 8 hours every night, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So I don't know if a lot of people are upset with the rate as to what, um, as the rate as to getting XP and everything. But I still have 16 days on the event. I'm level 49, about to be 50. This is one quest away from getting level 50. So I mean, I think it's in a good spot. I think the XP is not too fast and it's not too slow. They really they Crytek did a good job of pacing this time. It didn't feel like FOMO or nothing like that. Uh, so yeah, I think the battle pass overall, it wasn't astounding. I essentially would place it in the same tier other um as the other battle passes and everything. The reason why I got this was for 2 skins. I mean, I bought it with blood bonds, but yeah, it wasn't. If they didn't have those 2 skins, would I still buy the battle pass? No, I would not have. But I mean, the Vortex and Cretaceous is awesome, but yeah, again, it was okay at most. Next topic is the Twitch event. I know this one is up for a hot debate and it's very contentious. I feel as though it was an extra mini event for those to catch up on the Battle Pass. I get why Crytek did it. They did it because, um, it's not adding to the game in the sense they're giving you little extras, but I think they saw some people were lacking on getting it. I mean, personally, again, I played weekends for about 7 to 8 hours because that's when my brothers get on, and that's the only people I play with. I don't play throughout the week, unless I'm trying solo games and stuff, which is I'm getting there. But 7 to 8 hours every single night. I mean, it got me to level 49. Sorry, 7 to 8 hours Friday or Saturday. It, again, I don't know why people would need to catch up unless they play maybe 4 hours, on weekends or something, or they play way less than what I was doing. But I get why they did the event. It was to essentially give a catch up. It only gave XP and legendary hunters that were already in the game to temporarily use, not permanently unlock. Kind of a head scratcher on that one, but I think it's because Tide of Shadows brought in a lot of new players, so they were giving people a chance to try out legendary hunters, stuff like that. It wasn't really catering. I don't think the event was catering to the veterans or already established players that know what they're doing. It was kind of an introductory thing without straight up giving people free stuff. It was just a little helpful handhold for newer players. So that's my idea. That's what I think they were getting at. But hand in hand, although this info is given, the last event had the Billy Story come back, the spare dime with a few other unlocks like the poison bomb skin, the malady or malady or however you want to pronounce it, and the crossbow skin. So I'm pretty sure in the last event, I think it was like Devil's Moon, and then immediately after Devil's Moon, we got the reptile event with the skinned and scaled ward and stuff. I can't remember how these events go. It kind of jumbles up to me, but it's like I think right after the Devil's Moon, we got the Billy Story Twitch event, and then it also was inside of the reptile event, Serpent Moon maybe. But that went kind of hand in hand. I don't know why Crytek really didn't do something like that for Tide of Shadows. I know a lot of people were wanting the Plague Doctor to come back. I don't know if you should give the Plague Doctor back. Maybe it could have been something else, but yeah, it's kind of weird we didn't get other unlocks alongside the XP. You got supply crates to get hunters that are already established in the game that you don't fully unlock. You just temporarily get them. Last point for the Twitch event is I understand the community's take on the event. Personally, I am only butthurt that I didn't make the Crytek partner list and couldn't provide drops to the community other than XP, but that's just me being selfish. I mean, that's really all it is. I did not, unfortunately, make the Crytek partner list, so I was only able to give off regular XP to people. It is what it is. I'm just being selfish. Next point, hunter skins. The ones put in the store were way too pricey. So we have here the Fang Shear and Cardinal Rain. $1,500 and $1,200 for a skin is insane, especially because that is all you get. You only get these hunter skins. Now, if we were to buy blood bonds, and let's say we have absolute 0 blood bonds, right? $1,200 or $1,500. In order to do that, we'd have to buy, one of these, maybe a 300 and another 300, or maybe you wanted 2 of these. You're buying them for essentially what, 10, 3? You're buying them for like about $14, maybe even $16 each. If you were wanting the 1,500, of course, if you wanted the 1,200, you would get one of these and one of these. So you're buying it for $12. That's kind of insane, seeing as Myth of the Moors is brand new hunter. It's $10, and you get pack skins. You get a flare pistol skin, and you get yet another, adding to the 1,000 Romero skins, another Romero skin. That's kind of outrageous. I mean, that's asking way too much. This is way too much. I understand if Crytek is looking to monetize a little bit more. I don't blame them. It's a business at the end of the day. They need to make money, but this is crazy. This is I mean, this river one, a lot of people were upset about. This should have been in the battle pass, I think. But yeah, especially for 1,000. I mean, what is it? Legendary here. We have the knife skin that came out. What was it? The Last Word. This came out for 700 a little bit ago. I mean, this is an amazing skin. I think it's one of the best in the game, S tier skin. But when it came out for 700, I was like, whoa, that's a little pricey for a knife skin. But now we're asking 1,000. I mean, again, if we have 0 blood bonds, nobody has. If you're a brand new player, you don't have blood bonds and you want it, you're asking $10 for this that should have been with one of the Cardinal Rains or the Fang Shear. Again, it is not. I don't think this is it, man. I don't think this is it at all. These should be maybe 8, like let's just even say 800, and then the river skin should be like 500. I mean, what makes that any better than? I mean, I don't even know how to do it from best to worst, or like, let's see here. Yeah, it's already there. What makes it better than this? I mean, or sorry, I shouldn't even say that. Like, what makes it better than the Patre? Like, let's look at the Patre. What makes it better? You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Again, I think it's an S tier skin. I think that seaweed is awesome. But you're. I mean, I don't know. There's not even one in the shop right now. I guess that's the start of it. I mean, Swamp Song. I mean, I like these types of skins and stuff. So, I mean, unfortunately, I would pay 900, but I'd actually wait for it to go on sale or go into the black market. I mean, Enigma is awesome, and I waited for that to go in the black market. I mean, it's just, again, the skins were way too pricey. They were way too pricey. Next point, because I don't want to go on a tangent more on that. Helmsman and Gar are okay, but that's because they're not my taste. They're very RP for the lore, and I like that though. again, Hunt is not catered specifically to me. It's not a game for me, in the sense of like they made the game just for me. So again, it's fine because of course it's not for me, but it's going to be for other people. Other people are going to enjoy it. Personally, I don't think I'll ever use Gar. I don't think I'll ever use Helmsman unless I get them for free. But I get it for the lore reasons. I get it for the RP type of, not really RP, but when you jump in the game and you pick the Wayward Helmsman in your head, you're kind of playing out the story that Crytek has provided. You think of yourself as the Wayward Helmsman. You think of yourself as, Gar and stuff. I get it. That could work for a lot of people. Again, I like what they did for the lore, that they are there for the lore, but again, not really my taste. All in all, not the biggest fan, but I know someone else will like them, and that's what matters. Yeah, my last point for Hunter skins is, again, all in all, not me. They are not me. Again, even if Cardinal Rain and the Fang Shearer were in the Battle Pass, maybe I would play the Fang Shearer. I think he's pretty okay as a Hunter skin. But again, I'm not the biggest fan on the Hunter skins. Next is lore, the last one is lore. So bear with me. The lore was very, very, very detailed to the point where the story would get somewhat murky. In the sense of there were so many adjectives to where the writers got lost in a thesaurus. Now, please don't take that the wrong way in the sense of I'm trying to crap on anybody. I think the story was well written, but it was like there's so many adjectives that it started to take away from the story, where it was like, okay, what am I actually reading? What am I trying to piece together? They made it more of like a very weird puzzle to put this story together rather than, just kind of giving it adjectives to describe the scene in a beautiful way and making it just kind of like atmospheric. It's kind of hard to explain, I guess, but if you read any of these story chapters here, it got to the point where I kind of had to stop reading the adjectives and just went with the story, because it was just getting to that point where it's like, man, I get it, but there was too much detail. The lore, all in all, though, was amazing. I think it was great. It was well written. It was put together great. I know it just sounds like I'm being a hypocrite because I just said it was well written and then I just said there was too many adjectives, but what I mean is the idea that they were trying to get across was well written. Again, I thought the lore was amazing. I thought this part right here, Gar chapter 6 at the very bottom, these two sentences here, I think are very impactful and very well written. Probably the best well written part of any of the chapters. It is the best well written part of any of the chapters. It says a lot without saying a lot. So big fan of these two sentences. I don't think, though, that it should have been locked behind the event levels, and that chapters should have been for all to see, no matter what level you were in the Battle Pass. I think Crytek did a little bit of a disservice putting this behind progression in the Battle Pass. I mean, for those who want to read the lore and everything, I get it. You're supposed to build suspense and be like, oh, I need to get the next chapter and stuff. I need to keep playing for the next chapter. But you're making a story for people to get wrapped up in, to feel a part of the Tide of Shadows event, and then you lock it behind a Battle Pass, and like it loses something there. I guess I'm trying to say it loses out on, I don't know, something. I can't really put my finger on it, but I don't think they should be locked. I think from day one, level one, we should go into the chapters and read everything. It's a very compelling story. Again, I think it was very well written, and it shouldn't be locked. I feel like the writers are getting a little bit of a disservice by having this locked. Not everybody will read about the lore. Not everyone will read about the lore, but those who are interested, you know, I'm sure they would like it to be open as well. When I read about Devil's Moon, Serpent Moon, Trader's Moon, when I was reading those, I didn't really care for it. Genuinely, I did not really care for the lore and the story. It was kind of off to me. But Tide of Shadows, I think it might have been the introduction of Rotjaw, but the story was super compelling that I really wanted to keep reading it. Even if when I would level up with my brothers and stuff, I would literally tell them to hold on because I wanted to read the chapter that I unlocked. So, yeah, I think it's great. I think Tide of Shadows has the best story so far that Crytek has put out. It definitely it definitely retained me as a reader. After reading it all, it made me want a Delphine compound where we fought over the wreckage. Although I know in the lore it was splintered to pieces, I feel as though, I don't know, after reading it, maybe something like Scupper Lake where the Delphine is not splintered and exploded like it was in the story. As far as I took it, it was exploded and splintered. I feel like it should be, I don't know, like something to play around in the compound and stuff. It would feel good. I get it why they don't. I mean, you're not going to put in a permanent compound for one event, but I don't know. It felt like I wanted to play around the Delphine. But I feel as though there needs to be a skin for the Delphine, definitely. The Tide of Shadows, again, was a very compelling event, especially lore-wise, that, I mean, maybe on no quarter the Delphine is etched or engraved, maybe on the corrosion, because in the story it says that the drilling was a work of art and not made for war or something like that, but it was definitely two barrels with a shotgun board underneath, and it was a work of art. I can't remember what chapter it's in, but yeah, I feel like maybe on corrosion, or where's the spark skin? Right here, the corrosive vessel. Maybe I am missing it and it is etched in somewhere, but man, the Delphine, I feel like the Delphine needs to be remembered and etched in on one of the skins. But yeah, pretty much that is my review of Tide of Shadows. All in all, I think the event is the best event that Crytek put out. So in the sense of, if I'm going to rate it from a 1 to 10 on a scale for all the events, it's a 10 out of 10. It's the best one they've ever made. Right behind it, 9 out of 10 is the Inferno one. Again, I can't remember. Maybe it's Devil's Moon. But yeah, I think it was the best event. As far as the event as a whole, the skins were to be desired, but the weather effect was amazing. It's leading in the industry of video games, in my opinion. But it was all in all 7 out of 10, maybe 8 out of 10. The battle pass was to be desired. Hunter skins were to be desired. Twitch event, I understand it. I get it. And it's, again, yeah, I get it. but Rotjaw's amazing. It's great. Weather effect is amazing. Chef's kiss to that. Packs were great. But yeah, that's pretty much the Tide of Shadows, my opinion and review of it. So I appreciate you guys watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know how you felt about it. And I'll see you in the next one.